Part of elevation is packaging. Tell me why you went the church stained glass window route for the cover art of your project.
I wanted it because this is my first album, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like first album, plenty times mixtapes out the wazoo, all that stuff. So I'm about to be 30 this year, right? And I've been making. Thank you. I've been making music for almost 10 years, and I always had this idea of like, all right, when am I gonna put out my first album? You know, like when's my discography gonna like start? You feel me? Mm-hmm. So I just felt like I wanted it to be something that was like when you looked at it, it automatically drew your attention.
Facts.
I didn't really want it to be too abstract, like we have to look and like where's Waldo kind of thing. I kind of wanted it to be cut and dry. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? The idea of my face being on it, mm-hmm. It was just a really good picture that I had from a photo shoot, you know, back in the day. And I was like, you know what, like I'm just gonna rock this. And then when I threw the colors in it, it just reminded me, I feel like it went along with the diversity of the actual project. So from 1 through 7, it's like literally like it's like a full package. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of that. It's a full meal. So with the idea with the pictures and the colors, I just felt like it was like, if you're wondering what this is about, and then you listen to it, you know what it's about.
Okay. See, that's called surrealism. See, surrealism is an art style where all the brush strokes and everything don't have to be aligned, but you get a full picture when you stand back.
Got you.
And see, that's what I got from the album cover, because it's a picture of a man with shades on, but the shades, the skin, and the hair change colors, mm-hmm. which means there's different layers and techniques to the mind that you're going to get into. See, people don't take the time to appreciate cover art, but I do, because if you know anything about cover art or a person's heart, how they look or what they want something to look like represents a part of their soul. And with looking at the cover art and listening to the project, there's parts of your soul that you haven't even touched yet that you're waiting to understand. Am I correct?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
What's the hardest lesson you learned from doing music that you apply to your life outside of music?
The hardest lesson I learned, besides the obvious, you know, patience is a virtue, you know. Knew that going into it. I learned that all you gotta do is finish, you know, like if you finish, you'll be a lot happier than if you just stopped. And I mean that in the terms of writing songs, whereas like I could have stopped because you get locked and blocked and playing the beat a million times over and you're just like, nah, forget it, right? Forget it. Nah, but most of those songs that I do finish writing are just a pleasure to listen to for myself, you know, so I kind of feel accomplished in a sense where it's like, I'm glad I did that, you know what I'm saying? Whether people like it or not, like I don't care. For me, playing that song just kind of shows me like from point A to point B, if I decide to stop, what's gonna happen, and if I just decide to keep going and working harder, it could turn out to be a really nice thing, you know what I'm saying?
I think, and this is just my honest opinion, mm-hmm. you will prove me right or wrong in your future. I'm not even gonna worry about it. You have the potential to make an album that's gonna be socially driven, yet introspectively groundbreaking.
Wow.
And the reason why I say that is because when you document your life in music, you're going down a road that most people are scared of.
Okay.
Does it offend you to be a hypocrite?
Nah.
You know why? Because you're mature. And if a person never calls you a hypocrite in your life, that means you didn't grow.
Word.
One of my favorite lines, one of my favorite movies, which is Batman: The Dark Knight, is when Two-Face talks about the hero has to live, if he lives long enough, he'll become the villain. Because the code, the morals of what it is to be you has to change, because you got to meet the society that you have to change. Even in the Bible, it says the love of many will wax cold, which means in the last days, we're going to see people get more and more cold and evil towards each other and the world's going to become out of shape, which you kind of see right now.
Yeah.
But there's certain albums and there's certain artists that's brave enough to tackle that thing and just talk about how real things is by reflecting it off themselves. How is hip hop your mirror and not just your microphone?
Because when I make the music, I kind of don't really I don't really have a picture in mind on. I don't know what the picture at the end of the road looks like.
Okay.
You know, I have an idea of how I want it to look, right? But I don't even know what it's gonna be. So how would I know if it's the right picture or not the right picture? You know what I'm saying? So with the idea of like the mirror of it is like when you listen to other artists, like I put myself in their shoes and say like, what if they didn't even know that this was gonna be this? You know what I'm saying? They just got to this finished product, but maybe that's not what they had in mind because they didn't even know what they had in mind, kind of thing. I don't know if they do or not, you know what I'm saying? But just the idea of that kind of just, I don't know, it shows me that, it allows me to believe, I should say, that it doesn't really matter, like, you can't critique your music that much. You gotta just kind of start and finish and approve it, and then just let it fly. So
then, let me ask you a trick question. What do you see when you look in the mirror?
I see myself.
And that's what you're not supposed to see. You walk into the trap. Okay.
Got me.
Because that's not you or yourself. The mirror has no soul. So when you look in the mirror, all you see is the reflection.
Gotcha.
You see what you give to the world.
Right.
You know, that's why everybody get in the mirror and they do their hair. Because they want to look good when they go outside. But that has nothing to do with how good they look on or feel on the inside. See, a lot of people use the reflection to be their real life because they really hate themselves inside.
Gotcha.
How do you keep your self-worth, your self-conscious, your self-knowledge, and your importance when you are not on the microphone so that when you go to the booth, you bring your worth to the booth, not what people want you to be to the booth?
Honestly, I think that's really easy because I don't really change who I am as a person. Like, I know a lot of rappers, you know, they kind of play like characters in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, but when I get up in the morning, like, and when I go to sleep, when I come here, when I go to work, when I go shopping, no matter where I'm at, I'm the same person. You know what I'm saying? So I'm comfortable in my own skin, whereas I don't have to try to figure out, oh, let me try to pretend, how does this guy pretend to do this? You know, it's like I'm just going in and I'm just doing my thing. You know, so it's like, that's really an easy transition for me.
How do you pick your beats?
I just, like I said, I listen to them. So I'll be on wherever the site is with the beats, or if, you know, somebody's in here making a beat, shout out to Try the Guy and make beats. But I just listen to them. As soon as I get like maybe 7, 12, 20 seconds in, if it doesn't talk to me, then I keep it moving. You know, sometimes if you think it's gonna be good, you listen to that drop. If that drop don't hit, then it's like whatever. But certain beats, like when I hear them, certain sounds in them, I'm drawn to it. I'm like, all right, put it down. I'm already writing in my head, like, you know. I don't know why.
Okay. There's something very important that I asked you in that question that you may have looked over.
What's that?
No, I mean, it was it's not out there. Maybe you didn't, but you did it a little bit.
Okay.
So I asked you, how do you pick your beats? You told me how you select your sound. That's the difference. So, like, shout out to my man who make the beats. Because the hardest thing about translating music or interpreting music is that you're interpreting something that you hear from somebody else's spirit.
Yeah.
And then you got to put your spirit into it. So sometimes we tend to not appreciate their songwriter themselves. You know why I say your part of hip hop is the hardest thing to write? Because everybody's scared to be themselves. Fake eyelashes, fake nails, fake hair, fake butts, fake breasts. Men, fake egos, fake pockets. Don't have to, you're not really as rich or try to stunt as much as you want to. Fake alter ego. Maybe you're not as tough as you think you are. Some of these guys really need hugs. And most importantly, some people just aren't as smart as they want to come off to be. But the lane you walk, like you said on myself, some people just are too scared to be themselves, and some people themselves are really boring and they have nothing to talk about.
Word.
So my final question for this part of the interview is this. What's the most important part of self that a person needs to keep whenever they go turn into an artist or creator?
Just knowing right from wrong. You know what I'm saying? I guess that's probably the most important thing, because if you know what's right and what's wrong, then you can kind of keep yourself on the right side of things. And that's pretty much how I can answer that.
Thank you for watching our presentation. We ask that you subscribe to our YouTube family and hit the notification bell for updates. Please like, comment, and share this video.
Real hip hop. Real hip hop. We here. Real hip hop. For real. Real hip hop.